Today, I'd like to talk about one of the most devious antagonists in recent television history. This character is the possible cause for the destruction of an entire plane of existence, and as you will learn today, has terrorized realms beyond comprehension and altered the minds and futures of those around him in an effort to cause mischief and mayhem on an interdimensional scale. The character I bring you today is Bill Cipher, Dream Demon.
Let's get something out of the way. There's no way for your 3D mind to process my 2D homeworld unless you chug expired milk while looking at a kaleidoscope. But since we're pals, I'll beam an image directly into your brain of me as a baby. Aww. I had Velcro shoes that squeaked when I ran. Everyone loved me immediately, and the mayor dubbed me the best baby of all time, made my birthday a holiday, and gave out free knives. Look, I know you want some tragic backstory that humanizes me and makes my sharp edges easier to swallow, but if you came to a triangle looking for depth, you're barking up the wrong treaties. Truth is, I've always been loved and admired by all, but being special comes with a price. You see, I wasn't just smarter than all the dull trapezoids and rhombuses sucking up my rightful oxygen. I had a gift, a rare mutation. I could see the third dimension. No one else in my stifling pancake of a reality understood what I was talking about when I said there was a direction called up. While they were all bumping around like ants in a terrarium, I could see a world of infinite glittering potential beyond the sliver of forgettable gruel that was my home reality. I looked up and saw the stars, and I was ready to be one. Technically, talking about a third dimension was illegal in my world, but I knew that everyone would be grateful if they could be freed from their delusions. It was time to put on a show. I came up with a plan to show everyone what they were missing. Their screams getting louder and louder as So much blood! So much! Mandibles. My hands shaking as I realized I could never undo Was the last one breathing. Episodes of Family Matter. Until there was no one left but me, covered in blood, alone in the universe. Huh, that's weird. For some reason, whenever I try to talk about that day, there's this loud buzzing in my ears, and I black out for 30 seconds. Well, we can come back to it. The important thing is I freed myself from my suffocating world, and freed everyone else too. And everyone loved me for it, and everyone was fine. And that's all there is to say about that. The new dimension I escaped to had a job vacancy for the role of Galactic Overlord. I humbly obliged.
One thing we always have to remember about Bill is that he's not to be trusted. This advice is plastered all over Journal 3, and if we're to gather a better understanding of who this interdimensional dream demon is, we must put all of the facts together. According to Stanford Pine's recount of his travels, when traversing the Nightmare Realm among other locations, he found himself being invited to Bill's dimension, or so he believes. Stanford is pictured standing in a void with part of his head pushed through this 2D plane of existence that Bill claims to be his homeworld. Though that would be strange, considering Bill's reference to the destruction of his dimension in his youth. Do we assume Bill was telling the truth and his dimension was destroyed by his own malevolent plans? Was it left in ruin, but continued existing in some way? Perhaps Bill took Stanford to a realm that exists in 2D, but is not Cipher's home of origin. It could even be that, using the same energy and power of the Time Baby, Bill made his way through time with Stanford so that he could showcase his home world prior to its destruction. Referring again to Journal 3, we see an entry from Stanford about an entity called the Oracle. The following excerpt is from page 2 of the Oracle entry, which I will read now. For a week, as I recovered, we had many long conversations about Bill. Apparently, his thirst for power caused him to destroy his home dimension, including his parents and everyone else he'd ever known. She spoke of him without anger, but with a calm, steely, clinical resolve to see his reign of terror end. She looked deep into my eyes and said I had the face of the man who was destined to destroy Bill. Is it possible that Bill wasn't lying, but the time in which he destroyed his home dimension was not fully disclosed? Could time travel have been the cause for this unclear timeline? Was the insight by the Oracle the future and not a story of past events? After considering this, I did recall a page from the Book of Bill, which outlines parallel dimensions, explicitly referring to several of the infinite timelines where Dipper and Maple Pines failed to stop Bill from carrying out his weird Mageddon destruction upon Gravity Falls, Oregon, and the rest of their reality. For now, the answer remains unclear as to whether or not Bill's home dimension is currently destroyed, or if it's one of many that exist with or without him. One thing is for sure that Bill Cipher is a destructive force whose evil doings can be felt across dimensions, through realms of nightmare, with echoes left behind in forms discovered in the real world and presumably far away. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you'd be interested in seeing more Gravity Falls content, and be sure to adventure through the rest of Mind Glue for other treasures you might like.